Welcome, my dear students. Today's welcome to my history class of 9A and 9B. Here are the points. Please look at the board. First point, Jain literature. Second point, patronization. Third point, art and architecture. Fourth point, Buddhism. Fifth point, four great sites. First point, Jain literature. What is Jain literature? You know, the Buddhist monks, the Jain monks, writers, they decided to make a book, a textbook for preachings and teachings of Jain monks or followers of Jainism. That's why they use one language that was Prakrit. It was used, and at the same time, it also gave a number of other languages. 12 Angas and Upanga form main body of Jain literature. Although the main part of main part of Jain literature was written in Ardha Magadhi, basically mixed dialect language. But the 12 Angas and Upangas of the Jain literature, they form a body of Jain literature, and a Jain council at Patliputra compiled the teachings of Mahavira into 12 Angas. 12 Angas. And this book was written in order to teach the concepts of Jainism and in order to allow people to receive knowledge directly from the monks, saints of Jainism. This content, the content teachings of Jain Tirthankaras and rules for Jain monks. Other important works are Mahapurana by Jinasena and Ratna Malika by Amogha Varsa. So these are the other two literary skills and literary achievements of the two great writers. They were Jinasena and Amogha Varsa. They wrote Mahapurana and Rama Malika, Ratna Malika respectively, Jinasena and Amogha Varsa. Then next, patronization. Patronization. Jainism was patronized by a number of, kings, rulers, business class people of Gujarat, and of course rulers like Rashtrakutas and Chalukyas. Chandragupta Maurya also followed the tenets of Jainism and attained nirvana. However, severity of self-denial and penance was difficult for most people to follow. This was one of the reasons that Jainism didn't spread very far and wide. Why? Because its hardness, difficulties, a number of system which was introduced by Lord Mahavira was very hard to follow. That's why it was very difficult to follow. That's why many people of India, they could not perfectly follow the exact system of teachings and teachings of Jainism. That's why Jainism could not become popular throughout the country and could not reach far and wide. And this is patronization. But in spite of all this, a number of rulers patronized Mahavira's concept Jainism. They were, Rashtrakutas, they were, Chalukyas, and a large number of business community at Gujarat, and some people also strongly supported the concept of Jainism and attainment of nirvana. Although it was very severe to follow, very difficult to follow, but yet some people tried to follow the system of Jainism as far as possible, but not large in numbers. That's why it could not become popular among the people. And next point, art and architecture. Art and architecture. A number of places from where Jain monks started preaching and teaching for their followers or for the disciples, constructed under the financial assistance of a number of rulers. The Rashtrakutas, the Chalukyas extended their financial stability, financial support towards the Jain monks, and a number of viharas, stupas also were constructed in various parts of India. For example, in Odisha, the two important caves were constructed during the period of Lord Mahavira and his followers. These were Udayagiri and Khandagiri. These two famous caves are considered as the center of learning, and from there the monks of Jain monks, they used to teach their disciples. The disciples would come there, and so these caves were used as monasteries. Rani Gumpha and Bagh Gumpha are the two most important caves containing inscriptions. Most of the caves had projected balconies which stood on pillars. It was the architecture, one kind of architecture they followed. And at Dilwara temple at Mount Abu, Rajasthan, with executive carvings, exquisite carvings on marble, and the temple at Ranakpur. The temple at Ranakpur are also examples of beautiful Jain architecture. The huge statue of Gomoteswara at Stravana Belagola also exhibit excellent craftsmanship of the Jains. That's why it is said that a number of kings also strongly supported the concept Jainism, and for that reason Jainism also became popular during that period, and also its architecture had become very much exquisite, very much exquisite. The carvings had become very much exquisite, beautiful, and Jain architecture also had become a good architecture, only of the patronization of a number of kings, number of business community people. The next one, another concept, my dear students, that is Buddhism. Buddhism was another concept I am going to discuss. Lord Buddha, another religious reformer, left his vast palace by leaving all comfort, all happiness, all richness. He did it with a view to face reality. He wanted to learn some disputes, some questions which were unsolved, the questions which were not solved. He decided to get it solved by means of strict discipline, penance, salvation, meditation. That's why he left his home and reached forest and started meditating, and led and chose a life forestman. Who was he? He was Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha, initially, he was known as Gautam Buddha. You know, Gautam Siddhartha. His actual name is Gautam Siddhartha. He was born around 563 BCE at Lumbini near Kapilavastu, near Nepal. But ultimately he lost his mother whenever he came to this world, he was born. After a few minutes later, he lost his mother forever and was brought up with all the love and affection that could be given to any child by his mother's sister, Gautami. Mother's sister gave him all love, all sympathy, and her name was Gautami. His father, Shuddhadhana, was the ruler of Kapilavastu, and Siddhartha's innate sensitivity revolted against the harsh training and tradition of his caste. His father's attempt to bind him to his royal life, by an early marriage to the beautiful Yashodhara didn't work. Then what happened to him? One day he went out of the palace and witnessed something that changed his life, his mind. In Buddhist literature, these are called four great sights. Lord Buddha actually left his vast palace, although he became family member, because during his early age, his father got him married, and he was leading a marriage life, a very marriage life. His wife Yashodhara also a very pious lady, but she could not she could not understand he could not understand whatever he decided to do. He did not reveal, he did not ventilate it, he did not disclose it before his wife. That's why his wife was in the dark. Suddenly his wife saw that Gautama Buddha left Gautam Siddhartha left the palace. Now, why did he leave? He wanted, as I mentioned earlier, he wanted to face reality. What he saw, four sights he saw that changed his life, his mind. These four sights are: number one, an old man, four great sights. An old man crying and being forsaken by his relatives. An old man crying and being forsaken by his relatives. An old man is trying to stand upright, but there is none to help him. That old man grew, but no one was there to help. No one was there to help him, but he was unable to stand upright with his stick also. That incident touched the heart of Gautam Buddha, Gautam Siddhartha. And second one, a sick man struggling to bear his pain. A sick man was trying to was struggling to bear his pain over his whole body. The body language seemed to be that he was a sick man. His body language seemed to be a very, very old-aged sick person who was facing lots of problems in his whole abdomen, whole body, and in his whole body there was pain. He was struggling to bear it. The second sight he saw, it also touched his heart. A number of questions appeared before his mind. How to solve it? He became very much eager to solve it. How to solve it? Next one, a dead man surrounded by his wailing relatives. A person passed away forever. A number of relatives are there, and they were crying, sitting around the dead body. That scene, that pathetic scene also touched his heart. And last one, a peaceful ascetic. A person who is actually a saint, sitting beneath a tree, and his mind is free of all kinds of anxieties, all kinds of anxieties, complications, and he was sitting steadily and meditating. In the form of meditation, he was sitting beneath a tree, and his body language attracted him a lot. It looks like a messenger of the Almighty God, although he did not believe in God. But he realized that very person is the right person to have showed his patience, his sorrows, and his joys, everything were there, but he had overcome it. That he overcome it, he was showing it through his body languages, through his faces. that sight attracted him a lot. So these are the four great sights attracted Lord Buddha. So Gautama Siddhartha then decided to solve the questions answers, because there was none to answer him the questions, and he himself decided to find out the answers of these great sights, and also choose a life a life of a life that must seek him answers to the questions about life, humanity, misery that seem to follow man wherever he goes. However, all his probing and his queries to the priests and pandits in the palace was of no use. Whatever queries were there, it was of no use. He made up his mind. He made up his mind to give up all comforts, all happiness, and security of his palace life, and seek answers to life's greatest miseries, greatest mysteries, and in the outside world. So, at the age of 29, he left all the comforts of his home to lead the life of an ascetic. This, in Buddhist literature, is known as the Great Renunciation. His search for eternal truth. His search for eternal truth led him to many renowned teachers of Hindu philosophy, but none could answer his queries. That's why he decided to establish a new concept, a new religious concept, Buddhism. And that very religious concept, Buddhism, became popular throughout the whole parts of not only India but outside India, only because of its acceptability, only because of its simple preachings and teachings, and only because of the language he introduced, Pali, where was the most spoken language of the common people. That's why they all accepted the religious concept of Lord Buddha's Buddhism. Up to this, my dear students, next day the remaining part will be taught. Thank you. Thank you so much.